CCTV Lon Rashapi daga Frank Motors Kajaka dekali ga bathamai jong Tata Motors Halatko ni Shillong ringkat bakanet foodish Ordal mapi nginwan ramani hakir dobiyeng jongpi
Jingrakhe kapasita yok kinti ya World Environment Day arhajar arpuar hapo ke Jylla Meghalaya kalakutno ha kasniba ar jongkah nyotri ko bana Jylla arhajar arpuar ha ke jingalang ka basongkun ka balalong ha ususu tham auditorium hanong ba Shillong Menteri Rangba ke Jylla Konrad Sangma ubalalong kumkongsan ha kene kasni ula thong yu utan rai ding ha plau jong ka State Central Library ban pensa jingkin mau ya kene kasni harengkat ka jing sakhilang jong Menteri Ketanat Forest and Environment u James P.K. Sangma ke Chief Secretary ke Jylla ke Kong Rebecca V. Suchiang ki Head Officer ki Nongelam Shinong ki Samla Pule bat kiwei Hagani kasni Menteri Rangba abat ki kenren ki lendan ki la pelai pai ba ya ka forest management plans bat pelai pai baru ya UNRM mascot bat hadin kanila sampat saya ki sernot NRM shakishnong baper
I just wanted to tell you a few things. This is the place where in 2018 our Honorable Chief Minister has given a kind of a call for action. I would say that environment is so important for us, especially for a state like us, because our state is a hilly state and very fragile in terms of the climate change. So we really need to put a lot of attention on protecting the environment and really using this, the nature capital what we have in such a manner that the generations to come can also benefit from. So with this objective, in fact, our Honorable Chief Minister has launched a campaign that one tree, one citizen. This was a kind of a campaign in 2018 we started. And ever since, actually, we have been working all the departments put together. In fact, this year, because even the way it has come up, all the human resources. So today, we have over 11,000 village community facilitators have been trained. So in all the villages, we have the village community facilitators who have been trained on natural resource management, who have been trained on climate change action, who knows how to use a mobile application and help the communities, how to conserve the nature, how to fix the water conservation related issues. So this is the kind of the capacity has been built. So now we have a environment cadre, I would say, which is there in all the villages where the community has this information how to fix the problems. And we could see today, we would be hearing from different other community members how they have been changing their villages with the knowledge.
Nature is on a rampage and it's warning us that enough is enough. So these kind of things wake you up to the reality of what it is today. This is clearly evident from the frequency of natural disasters such as unseasonal floods, heat spells, tropical storms, hurricanes, freak weather incidents. In Meghalaya itself, also in the month of May, we had torrential rains, there were landslides where there were also fatalities. So this is what we are, the situation, the scenario is. This is Earth's response to the abuse which is meted out to it, and it is a warning to people to reconsider the unsustainability of our lifestyles. I'd like to begin by talking to you a bit about the Stern Review. I'm sure most of you would know what is the Stern Review. It is a 700-page report written by Nicholas Stern, released by the government of UK. The review states that climate change is the greatest and the widest ranging market failure ever seen, presenting a unique challenge for economics. It also prescribes environmental taxes to minimize economic and social disruptions. Let me also remind you about 3 new movies, and I'm sure many of you have seen these movies. One, a very old one, 2006, in Inconvenient Truth, I think around 2006. The 11th Hour, and Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up it was released last year in 2021. So, An Inconvenient Truth is a film about, it's a presentation by the former Vice President of the United States, Sri Al Gore, who delivered more than 1,000 times all over the world his presentations. It makes a compelling case that global climate change is real, it is man-made, and its effect is cataclysmic if we do not respond early. Even in the United States, many are in denial and refuse to accept the truth. When this film was included as part of the school curriculum, it was met with a lot of resistance by parents and by the community. The second movie is The 11th Hour. It documents and addresses the grave problems facing Earth's life system: climate change, deforestation, species extinction, depletion of ocean habitats, and has contributions from over 50 politicians, scientists, environmental activists, including the former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, physicists Stephen Hawking, among others, including journalists and a lot of media people. This film calls for restorative action of the planet through technology, social responsibility, and conservation. Now, there's a third movie, I'd seen it on Netflix. It's called Don't Look Up. It's an allegory for climate change, and the film is a satire of government and people's indifference to the climate crisis. Meryl Streep, who plays the president in the movie, is more concerned about her polling numbers than the destruction of the planet. So the writing on the wall is very clear, the science is very clear, climate change is a reality, yet many of us choose to deny it and prefer to live in a bubble of blissful ignorance. What I'm trying to say by giving these examples of these movies and all that is that fight together to preserve our planet Earth. There's only one Earth, like they said in the banner here. So what we should do is we should then commit to revive our forests, revive our rivers, revive our waters, revive our streams, our lakes, and bring them back to the grandeur that the Lord God made them all. So with these very few words, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Project, the forest management plan overlooked by 1,200 youth from 400 villages. It has been imparted.
Our CEO of the MBDA, Mr. Sampath Kumar, other officers of the government, the school eco clubs that are participating here today, members of today, under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, what we are looking at in our state is something which many people may not have realized, but I want to place this on record here, that for many, many long years, we've had celebrations marking World Environment Day, which would be a one-day program. A program marked with tokenism, with a lot of sloganism, with tree plantations. But what we are looking at today is something very remarkable when it comes to the environment, when it comes to protecting it and conserving it, is that there is this move away from tokenism, sloganism, which we've been seeing through many, many years, and the action has started. The first point I would like to mention here is that this is not a one-day program where we are celebrating our planet, Mother Earth or Mother Nature. Week-long program. It goes to show how much this government places environment, how much importance this government places in environment, and this issue of climate change. So this is something that I would like to first start off by placing my thanks to Honorable Chief Minister for taking this initiative and for starting this move away from tokenism. We've also seen that it's not just a one-week celebration that's taken place. We've also seen that there has been action on the ground. There have been 2 launches taking place here today. One is the launch of the forest management plans, and the other one is the report that we just released. Apart from that, there have been so many activities that took place over the week. We saw a short video clip of those activities. The seed bombing. So this is something that came under a head or category by the name of disruptive technologies. And it is very interesting to note how technology is being adapted or is being used towards nature and the protection and conservation of our planet, our environment. And seed bombing is not something that's new. It's a very, very old technique, in fact, which dates back to the Egyptian civilization. But today, the usage of drones to disperse these seed bombs is, I think, a marriage of technology with conservation efforts, and I think it's really something that's amazing. The seed bomb dispersal through drones is going to enable the governments to reach areas which are difficult to reach sometimes, and it also cuts down on a lot of time. It's a very, very simple technology, but very effective one. We also had the launch of the GIS-based natural resource management plans, which is, I think, going to be a game changer. Because for us, unless we have a map, unless we know where we stand, we can't have planning for the future. So this GIS-based NRM mapping is, I think, going to play a very, very important role when it comes to strategizing for the future, how we want to take our conservation efforts. I'm also very happy to inform all of you today that we are going for nature-based solutions. Forest Department today has come up with phycoremediation that we are implementing in our rivers. Again, phycoremediation is not something that's new. All of us know about it, but just to inform those who may not, this is a technology wherein we use nature to solve nature's problems. We have this huge problem of acid mine drainage in our rivers, and to counter that, or to make sure that these rivers are rejuvenated, we are using algae, which is a very, very humble organism found in Mother Nature, to correct the pH.
Hills, Ningmandalgre, village institutions and individuals without any or very less departmental involvement. This is Emanrungramgre, and for all PMAY beneficiaries has been one of the innovative ways of undertaking water conservation activities. Soil around them. The best village on land reclamation activities goes to Minska village.
Our respected Chief Secretary, our CEO of MBMA, our other officials from the Forest and Environment Department and Soil Conservation Department, our Deputy Commissioner, our officials who are present out here, and the different members from the different VECs who have received the award today, and all my dear friends who have gathered here to celebrate and to mark the closing of the World Environment Week 2022. Friends, in 2018, when we had just taken over the government, we made a very important, I should say, shift in the thought process of how we should work as a government and how we should move forward. And though the schemes and different programs that were being implemented were the same, it is this simple thought process that actually changed the way we looked at things. And the simple thought process that we had changed was to look at an issue or an objective as a mission, rather than looking at a program of a department as a scheme. Now this might sound very simple to you, but it is very, very deep in its meaning. And the reason I say that is because for many years, most of the state governments and the different governments throughout the country have really been working and focusing on a scheme-based approach. And by that I mean that targets are given to officials, targets are given to departments to complete a certain scheme, submit the utilization certificate, and that is how the entire assessment or performance of a department or official was assessed. And what we started doing was, we started saying that that is not going to work. And it has not worked, or rather it has not given the desired results in the many past years. And therefore we started looking at things from a mission mode. What is the objective of implementing this scheme? And not just implementing the scheme. What is the end benefit and the result that we want? Who are the people who should benefit? And what is it that we're trying to achieve? When you ask these simple questions to yourself and as a department, you suddenly realize that maybe the things that you were doing and the actions that you were trying to work on were not giving you the desired goals and results that you were looking at. And I use this very simple example every time I explain this point, is if you ask irrigation department about how they implement their projects, they will tell you that we assess it on the basis of the number of kilometers or meters of canals that we have created. But actually they should be assessing their performance on the basis of the increase in the agricultural output that has led because of the canals that have been built. So is the canal implementation the objective of the department, or is it the increase in the production of the farmers and the agriculture product the objective of the department? And this thought process is what has led us to really change the way we look at things. And you see it in everything. When you talk of natural resource management, when you talk of health and youth policy, mother's health, child's health, you look at all these areas and you realize that they are all connected. When we talk of NRM, which is natural resource management, it's not just the soil conservation department that needs to look at it. It's not about planting trees. It's not, or I should say, it's not just about planting trees. It's not just about creating the reservoir. It's not just about having the catchment area protected. It's about ensuring that the natural resource we have is managed in a better manner so that it becomes sustainable and economically viable in the long run. And that is the larger picture and the goal with which we work with. And it is important for us to realize that, but because without that, we would be missing the picture, I should say. Similarly, when you talk of youth policy, you talk of the health of the mother, you talk of the health of the child, you talk of the different programs in the health department. If you look at it, they're all connected. Now, we as a government, we focus on maternal mortality rate. We link it to institutional deliveries. And we feel that if institutional deliveries go up, the mortality rate will go down. And we don't realize that that's just one factor that leads to the result. It has multiple aspects attached to the health of the mother, which then further links up to the health of the child, the spacing between the birth of the children, the high-risk mothers that are there, the anemic status of the mothers. All these aspects lead to the ultimate goal of saving the mother's life, which ultimately leads to having healthier children, which ultimately leads to having a more productive society. So what I'm trying to say is, as a government and as departments, we need to realize that we are working towards an objective. We are working towards a goal. And everything that you do, everything that every department does, adds to that goal and to that objective. Unless we don't realize that and we don't see it, we are missing the big picture and we are losing track of what we are doing. And that's the reason why in 2018, when we started working towards natural resource management, we mentioned one very clear thing, that it's not just about planting trees, it's an entire process which will require multiple aspects. And as was mentioned by the Honorable Forest Minister, it's not about just planting a tree today. That's just a token or one step towards showing our participation. It's much bigger than that. There are many, many more things to be done. And that's why when we started in 2018, when we talked of natural resource management, we realized that we need to have a policy for water. Because without that, the entire process would be not connected. So we started with the water policy. Then we realized that the state budget and funds are not enough for us to be able to fund the different projects that we want. So we started moving aggressively on different externally aided projects. I'm happy to inform you that while I'm standing here and speaking, we have close to 4,700 crores worth of externally aided projects that are being spent on natural resource management. You don't realize it, but that's the kind of money that this government has mobilized and is spending on natural resource management. We started connecting different departments to each other. Soil conservation needs to talk to forest department, which needs to talk to water resources, which needs to talk to PHE, and all of them need to be connected with some agency and some sort of funding. So we started making the different departments talk to each other. We realized that just department handling it is not enough. We need the community to be part of it. And that's why you saw this wonderful program where we are having the natural resource management committees at the village level, at the 6,500 plus villages that we have, so that the entire effort of the government, the plan that we have, can then trickle down to the grassroots level, be connected with the different programs that are being implemented, so that ultimately we are able to achieve the big picture. And while we move forward, and the MGNREG and the CNRD department can make a plan for the next 5 years, along with the other departments, and put down a proposal that apart from the reservoirs that we've created in all the villages that we are doing, can we have a rainwater harvesting storage system for every house? Now every house requires 1 lakh liters of water a year. Now if that 1 lakh liter of water a year, even if a 50,000 liter tank can be created in every house in the state, that means we are ensuring that we are taking care of our water problems to a large extent. Now if MGNREG, which has a budget of 1,500 crores, along with all the other departments that are working, can we in the next 5 years make sure that apart from reservoirs, we will also have rainwater harvesting tanks in every house in the 6 lakh plus houses that we have throughout the state? I think it's doable. It's not a tough task, but I think it will go a long way in ensuring we conserve water and we are able to use and manage water in the best possible way. Can we also look at the next 5 years and say that all the government departments will now phase out and come into electric vehicles? Why can't we decide that and go forward with it and get electric vehicles? Because it has multiple advantages, we all know it, and obviously in the long run, it's good for the environment. Can we decide that next 5 years we are going to, Government of India has said 2030. Well, let's do it in Meghalaya in 5 years, that at least government departments and even the people, even the public transportation, can we shift in the next 5 years to electric vehicles? And if we have a target and a mission-based program, it's only then can things work. So therefore, I'm giving that mission and the target that we need to move forward in this. Can we make a mission and a target and say that we will get rid of all kind of plastic products that are there, or minimize it to the minimum level in the next 5 years, to only the basic ones that's required, and obviously the one-time use plastic and all the other forms of plastic which are not necessary, and we have alternative for it available. In the next 5 years, can we phase them out? Can we ensure that in a stepwise manner, we should become one of the few states in the country where we say no to plastic completely? Can we, as individuals, tell ourselves that in the next 5 years as we go along, you as a citizen, after you have mapped your carbon footprints, can you make a resolution to yourself that you will reduce your carbon emissions by 10% every year? Can every citizen map his or her carbon footprints and work towards finding out where and how you can reduce your carbon footprints by 10% every year? I think these are basic things that can be done. You know, I was just sitting with one of our officials in my vehicle, and I was telling him that, you know, I was looking at some pictures of some villages, and I saw some children, because the stream level went up, you know, the children were crossing that river in their school uniform with their bags on their head and the shoes in their hand. And I just looked at that picture and just struck me, you know, we've seen it so many times, but I don't know, that moment was different for me. And I realized that even after 50 years, there are villages that don't have this connectivity, that even a small suspension bridge is not available in those. So we're in Shillong. Shillong is more or less fine, but a lot of rural areas don't have that. So I was telling him that, you know, within this week, I'm just sharing with you in this platform because I'm speaking a lot about so many things. But within this week, I plan to finalize a program where in the next 3 years to maximum 5 years, starting this year itself, that we want to ensure that every area and village that requires the suspension bridges, we will start with 100, 150 of them this year. Even if an investment of 150 crores or 200 crores to ensure that suspension bridges are put in different villages to give the basic connectivity to people, I think is not at all, you know, anything that we should think even twice about. And if MGNREGA and other programs, we can have a convergence going in. The mission being to connect these villages, allow the children access, allow the farmers access, allow them to be able to at least cross over the, you know, the river in a proper, decent manner. I think it's not a big deal. So I think these are few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. And as a government, as I said, coming back to the first point that I mentioned, that we are really looking at a large number of programs and works, and we are not focusing on them in terms of implementing them well. We are looking at them in terms of achieving our goal and our target. But while we try to do that, obviously we need to make sure that we are implementing it well. You must have seen that project for Mega Lamp. In 2018, when we took over the government, IFAD had come to us and they had said they're going to close down the Mega Lamp project because the implementation was not going as per their requirements and they were not happy with the performance, and they told us that they're going to close the Mega Lamp project. I requested the IFAD people, give us 6 months, we will change things and then you decide. And I'm happy to inform you that in 6 months, we transformed the project, and today, instead of closing it, the IFAD has agreed to give extension of another 2 years because they are so happy with the work. And not only have they given extension of 2 years, they have given an additional 150 crores to Meghalaya government to carry on the project, which at 2018 was at the brink of being closed down. And the reason why this happened is because the team worked well. It happened well because we allowed the team to work. It happened well because there was a mission, there was a goal, there was a passion that was driving everybody. And we made things happen. And that's the result of things that are being seen. And that's how we need to move forward. And I really hope that as we move along, things will be very challenging for us. We need to look at environmental aspects in a very different manner. Agriculture. We need to adapt. Climate change is happening. The products that we used to grow will not grow anymore, or they will yield lesser produce. The yield will be lesser. Therefore, we need to find ways in which how we will adapt to the changing environment so that our agriculture and our farmers are not affected. The designs of our buildings will have to change. You all know that in the next 5 years, we will be shifting out the secretariat from here. And I assure you that we will ensure that the new secretariat comes up. And we will also ensure that this new secretariat, when it comes up, it should be a modern design which is environmentally friendly. And I was just sharing with somebody that in offices, normal people work from 10 to 5. There are some abnormal people like us who go on till 9, 10 in the night also. But normal, 80%, 90% of the people work till about 5 o'clock. And that's when the sun is there. So why should we have buildings that are fully closed and have just 1 or 2 small windows? So the new designs will have to be buildings which look at all these aspects and allow the natural lighting to come in. Our new secretariat, our new government offices need to adapt to these designs. Urban Affairs needs to look into those aspects and ensure that these kind of adaptations take place in the future. So therefore, these are the ways that we will move forward. But I can assure you that with the kind of participation that we are seeing today, with the kind of awards that have been given to different VECs, there is a lot of hope. There's a lot of...
Both